Today, we're going to talk about a charity or a corporation, supposed to be a charitable corporation that Donald Trump has in the state of New York. The state of New York sued him for $2,823 recently. Sued him personally. And the question is, I guess the name of this foundation was Trump Foundation, and it's been in business since 1999. But supposedly, it's had no meetings since 1999, so that would be about 19 years. And no meetings, and it's his three children were in it. Trump's three children, 2 sons and a girl, and they have been barred from being in this type of charitable organization for 10 years, and for being in a corporation like this or foundation that it's supposed to be charitable and it's operated not for profit. This type of corporation is not simple, and unless you understand some tax laws, you can't even figure out why somebody would want to do it. What we've got to realize is in '99, I think in the 90s, Trump was in 3 or 4 bankruptcies that were going on, those casinos in Atlantic City, so that could have something to do with it also. But anyway, the $2.82 million supposedly came from a fundraiser that he had in Iowa, and they're trying to get that money back. That was supposed to be donated to the foundation that Trump had with his children. So that the foundation had no meetings for 19 years, and some of the things that the attorney in New York is arguing about in her suit are these payments that this charitable corporation made. One of them, they bought a picture for $10,000 of Donald Trump to hang over one of his golf courses. Now, how is that part of a charitable foundation, and hence come off of the charitable foundation as a legitimate expense, $10,000? I mean, I don't see how that ties into anything for charity or donation or nothing like that.
Right.
Nothing whatsoever. So those are the kind of things she's trying to get tax on. At $10,000, they took a deduction, and I could see why there might be a lot of deductions, because if he was in these bankruptcies, deductions from this charitable corporation wouldn't do him any good personally. It would not do him any good. But now, if he could take some of these deductions somewhere else, so what he did, he looks like he took it off of the charitable foundation money. And another thing, he was getting sued in Palm Beach over his Mar-a-Lago resort, and the foundation paid $100,000 to settle that case. Now, what does that have to do with charity? Or what does that have to do with anything except his personal expense? And that was taken off as a deduction. So this is part of the $2 million and change that she's suing him for. But she does say there are no criminal charges filed right now. But the question is, how far is she going to go back? Because if she keeps going back, and this was money owed and it wasn't paid, then she's going to notify the IRS and the state tax commission. So those two will come in, and they're going to start hitting with a lot of penalties. don't know what it'll come to at the end. And this 289.3 though, somehow is some money he made on he had a deal in Iowa. He had a lot of people that were supposed to be for charity. I don't know, and I don't think it went to charity. The foundation ended up with it. The question though is, yeah, there are no criminal charges filed now. It's going on back and back and back. I don't know what will turn up, because with these bankruptcies that he had, and I know everybody's a tax expert, with these bankruptcies, he didn't need none of those write-offs or losses from this foundation. It would just be wasted paper, wasted paper. So the question is, where could he use them? Now, if he was in personal bankruptcy, it wouldn't do him any good. So naturally, somehow, he's looking at this foundation. So take it off of the foundation money, and then we'll figure it out later. So like this $100,000 the foundation paid to settle a suit, and this $10,000 portrait, they took that off as an expense, the foundation, but it wouldn't do him any good if he was in bankruptcy. But then I don't know what else he took off, because, and then he had another deal going where at one of his golf courses, he had a hole-in-one. If you got it, you get $1 million. And a guy named Greenberg got it. And he said, I want my $1 million. It was the 13th hole on Trump National Golf Club in 2012. Martin B. Greenberg, he sued him. Because said, I got the hole-in-one, that's what you advertised, I want the $1 million. So anyway, the foundation paid him, and I don't know what this has to do with the foundation. They paid him $158,000, and they made that payment to a foundation run by Greenberg. Now, how he got the rest of the $1 million, I don't know. And then the foundation also paid $5,000 for promotional space for Trump Hotels. Now, Trump Hotels, that's a business. What's that got to do with the charitable foundation? And another $32,000 the foundation paid to satisfy a pledge made by a privately owned entity controlled by Mr. Trump, Land Trust, which had nothing to do with this foundation, but it was some money he owed, and they paid it off. But the question is, how many other things are there? Although I don't think this foundation was in business before 1999, but I'm not sure. It doesn't say. It just says they haven't had a meeting since 1999. And Trump's out for 10 years, and then his 3 children, they're out for a year from being involved in any charitable foundation. But the key is to go over this expense statement, if you can get these returns, because they had no people working in the office, supposedly. But if you can, each year, because this thing took in millions that people gave for charity. And then, all right, if you can get those sheets, get how much money came in, you can look at that in the bank. The other thing, what expenses did they pay, like we're talking about now? Let's see their expense sheet. Now, if any of those expenses didn't involve a charitable purpose, they can't be taken off. I mean, now you could pay your accountant or something like that, to run a business, but all these other expenses, like a sign for him on a golf course, $10,000, no. Then $100,000, they paid to one of his golf courses. So we have to go over the expense sheets each year, if we could find them, for this foundation. Then the woman filed the suit, I think her name is Greenwood. She said she's not asking for criminal charges right now, but until we see the expenses that this foundation paid on behalf of Donald Trump and his companies, I say we don't know. I don't know what she knows about tax law and foundations, but that has to be done, and it has to be done immediately. Thank you.